This video is brought to you by Brilliant. Today, both sides claim victory in Venezuela's election. Suella Braverman opts not to stand in the Conservative Party leadership election, and fears grow of an escalation between Israel and Lebanon. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Monday the 29th of July, 2024. Both Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his opposition rival Edmundo Gonzalez have claimed victory in the country's presidential election, setting up a showdown between the two. Venezuela's electoral authority declared overnight that Maduro had secured a third term in office with 51% of the vote, while Gonzalez received 44%. However, the opposition camp rejected this as fraudulent and claimed victory for themselves, saying that Gonzalez had in fact won 70% of the vote. Gonzalez and opposition leader Maria Corina Machado said that Venezuela has a new president-elect and it is Edmundo Gonzalez. We won and the whole world knows it. After a relatively calm election day in which voters reportedly turned out in their masses, the Venezuelan Electoral Authority remained silent for more than 6 hours after polls closed, prompting opposition and international concern, before it eventually made its announcement. International reactions to the election started coming in on Monday morning, with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken saying that the US has serious concerns about the result announced by the National Electoral Council, which said Maduro had won. Leaders and foreign ministries from across Latin America, including from Chile, Guatemala, Uruguay and Peru, expressed doubt at the result or outright rejected them, and Colombia's foreign minister called for the total vote count, its verification and independent audit to be carried out as soon as possible. The EU and European countries also expressed doubt and called for the release of verifiable and detailed voting data. The presidents of Nicaragua, Honduras, Bolivia and Cuba, however, welcomed the results and congratulated President Maduro. The election had been billed as Maduro's biggest electoral challenge so far, with the opposition having a strong chance at victory in a free and fair contest. But a range of factors like the arrest of opposition staff, barring of candidates and the blocking of international observers were all hurdles to defeating Maduro. At time of writing, it remains unclear exactly what the opposition's next move will be, and Gonzalez has said he is not calling for his supporters to take to the streets or commit acts of violence. The opposition has vowed to fight on though, saying in the coming days we will continue to announce actions to defend the truth. The election came at a crucial time for Venezuela. Its economy is in a dire state. Years of economic mismanagement, corruption and crushing sanctions have seen Venezuela's GDP shrink by roughly 3/4. More than 80% of Venezuelans live in poverty, and nearly 8 million people, roughly a fifth of the population, have left Venezuela since Maduro took office in 2013. If Maduro holds on to power, then Venezuela will continue to face international sanctions, and it's expected that many more Venezuelans will consider leaving the country. There's more on the way, but remember to subscribe and ring the bell for more daily briefing tomorrow. Plus, if you want to support the channel like Robert Randez, then consider joining the new TLDR membership programme for just $1.99. Moving to the UK now, where the Conservative Party leadership election has just kicked off. Nominations for the leadership closed this afternoon, and at the time of writing, 6 MPs have successfully made their way onto the ballot. Kemi Badenoch, James Cleverly, Robert Jenrick, Priti Patel, Mel Stride and Tom Tugendhat. Many expected, however, that former Home Secretary Suella Braverman would make the ballot. In theory, she could have, with her claiming that she had reached the required 10 nominations. However, in an article for The Telegraph, Braverman claimed that there was no point, for good or ill, in someone like her running to lead the Tory party when most of the MPs disagree with my diagnosis and prescription. She added that the traumatised party does not want to hear these things said out loud. There was speculation a few weeks ago that Miss Braverman might actually leave the Conservative Party and instead join Reform UK. While this has not yet happened, the fact that she's opted not to stand for the leadership has led some to believe that she may be on the precipice of this. Concerns about a regional war in the Middle East are rising once again after a rocket struck a football pitch in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights on Sunday, killing 12 civilians, all children and young adults, and injuring 30 others. It took place in the town of Majul Shams, close to the Israel-Lebanon border, where Israel and Lebanon-based Hezbollah have been exchanging near daily fire since October the 7th. While Israel and the US have blamed Hezbollah for the attack, Hezbollah has denied responsibility, reportedly telling the UN that what hit the football pitch was an Israeli anti-rocket interceptor projectile. Following the attack, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called a meeting of his security cabinet and military chiefs to decide on how and when to respond. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said Hezbollah will bear a heavy price for their actions, but foreign diplomats have been urging Israel to show restraint. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said US officials don't want to see the conflict escalate, and UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy has also condemned the strike, saying the UK was deeply concerned about the risk of further escalation and destabilisation. Meanwhile, the White House said the US is working on a diplomatic solution that will end all attacks once and for all, and allow citizens on both sides of the border to safely return to their homes. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has pledged to relaunch bilateral ties with China after her decision to drop out of the country's Belt and Road Initiative last year. Sunday marked the start of a 5-day visit to the country, which has seen Meloni sign a 3-year plan to strengthen economic cooperation between Italy and China. In an official statement, Chinese Premier Li Qiang said the two countries aim to increase mutual beneficial cooperation between small and medium-sized enterprises in the fields of shipbuilding, aerospace, new energy, and artificial intelligence. After signing the agreement, Meloni told an Italy-China business forum in Beijing that it would require efforts to make the trade relationship more fair and beneficial to all. For context, last year, Meloni withdrew Italy from China's BRI, a $1 trillion global infrastructure investment scheme that Italy's previous government joined in 2019. Meloni was critical of the decision at the time, calling it a mistake, and withdrew last year, saying the scheme had failed to bring any benefits to Italy. Meloni's current trip is intended to preserve Italy's relationship with China, its second biggest trade partner outside Europe after the US, and on Monday she met with Chinese President Xi Jinping to further mend strained relations. In the final uplifting story today, we discuss new findings about the origins of life on Earth. A team in Gabon has claimed that they have found evidence from deep within rocks that show conditions for animal life may have existed as far as 2.1 billion years ago. They additionally claim that organisms here were restricted to an inland sea and did not spread out globally and eventually died out. The current thinking is that animal life began on Earth around 635 million years ago. While this doesn't prove that complex life on Earth is older than we previously thought, it does add some weight to this argument. Be sure to keep an eye on this story as it evolves, as much like every area of our lives, this is likely to progress quickly. In fact, if you're feeling left behind by the news cycle and fast developments in AI and tech, you'll want to check out Brilliant. Brilliant is where you learn by doing, with thousands of interactive lessons in maths, data analysis, programming, and AI. Learning a little every day is one of the most important things you can do, both for personal and professional growth. Brilliant helps you build real knowledge in minutes a day, with fun lessons you can do whenever you have time. It's the opposite of mindless scrolling and truly helps you to learn quickly, kind of like TLDR. One course I've found to be particularly interesting was their course on large language models. We hear a lot about AI and large language models in the news, but Brilliant helped me actually get hands-on with real language models as you explore how they build vocabulary, choose their next word, and more. They also helped me grasp the importance of training data by comparing models trained on Taylor Swift lyrics to models trained on a cookbook or big text terms and conditions. If you want to learn more and understand the world around you better, whether that's in order to get a job in AI or just to understand what everyone's talking about, you can try everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days. Visit brilliant.org/TLDR or click on the link in the description. Plus, you'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Thanks for watching and to Brilliant for sponsoring this video.